I just want to thank you guys for, of course, joining us on this fine Wednesday morning for the Nu Skin Ops call. This is going to be week 2 of our training courses that we have you guys attend and see how to use, of course, your replicated sites and how to interact with a lot of the different features that are available to you. Again, for those who attended last week, we learned basically how to walk through the profile, set that up, give you some explanations on certain features and certain items and system features that you want to turn on and off, such as lead capture pages, notifications, making sure that your website display information is correctly input so that your contacts and visitors are able to visit your websites and then follow up with you if need be. This week what we'll be going through, if you guys can see my screen, is we're going to be first talking about contacts. The whole purpose of the course using this particular system is to have contacts that we're able to send information to or have websites that we want these contacts to be visiting because we want to show them about the product lines. We want to show them about the opportunity. The first of which is in our Contacts tab, you'll notice that we have a Manage Contact screen. Now, for some of the new distributors that, of course, come online, they may not have any contacts in their system as of yet. So this one doesn't need to be gone through first. What I would say is you want to add, of course, a contact into the system. One of the things that you guys will find that's super helpful is adding yourself into the system as one of your own contacts. You want to do this for a few reasons. First of which is if you just kind of want to get acclimated to the way that the back office flows, how some of the features interact before, of course, sending information out to your prospects. But you're also going to be receiving that information firsthand, so you're aware of what the recipients of your materials are looking at and viewing or watching when you send out these items. So I'm just going to add myself as my own contact real quick. I'm just going to put myself underneath first and middle name because I think I'm in here already underneath the last name. We're going to go ahead and put in an email address. And then any other applicable information that you need to as far as addresses, phone numbers. You can also, of course, use SMS phone numbers here as well, just in case you want to be able to text message them or send them out a notification. You also have the opportunity to add people specifically to folders that may be in your system already. As you can see, I do have a folder entitled New, as far as people I put new into the system, and I can add this person directly into that folder instead of later after, after the fact. You can do it right from the contact creation screen. The next thing I want to show you is you can actually choose to put them onto an autoresponder instead of waiting for somebody to be triggered on it when we looked at some of those triggers last week in your guys' My Profile and My Site settings. If you need to, for any reason, somebody wants to receive some information, you can certainly add them into the system manually just as we're doing now and then be able to select one of these strips or one of these autoresponder campaigns and begin to send that information out that they've requested. And this might come from a scenario where you guys are just meeting people, in the grocery stores, just meeting people out in your daily lives. Maybe coworkers, colleagues, extended family members, what have you. You can be like, yeah, I'll put you on some information, send you out a product campaign, shoot you out a couple of emails that talk about the differences in our product lines and what benefits they'd have for you and your family. Same thing with the opportunity. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add myself to the product campaign. Now, you can also set what this person's interest mostly is. For the most part, a lot of your contacts or leads are going to be interested in products first before they start looking at the opportunity of things. But then there are those who are looking definitely get into, of course, an investment opportunity and be able to start building some residual income while being able to stand behind a fantastic product. And in that case, you might want to set their interest, of course, for the opportunity. What this little drop down that we're working with right here actually affects is anytime that I send information now out to Brian right here to this email address, if I set that for opportunity, every single one of the emails that I send him and have information to view as far as videos or whatnot, he's going to be viewing that information on my op page. He's not going to be viewing that through the products page. Same difference if I were to put them on the products page. If I'm sending information out or videos out that talk about the opportunity, if I have this set to Nu Skin products, he's going to be watching opportunity-themed videos or content on my products website. So you'll just want to be assured that you know what your contact is maybe looking into. For the most part, this is going to be defaulted to products. If you need to, you can change it to opportunity. You're also given, of course, an area just to put in some brief notes about this contact should you need to. This will also save it in their contact profile area for you to be able to view later. This is just in case you need to add anything like, what their schedule is, what time they want to be called, how often they want to receive information. Maybe you want to put in some notes about how excited they are or what their interest level may be. So you would just basically either click Save and Add New Contact if you wanted to add another contact in manually. Again, this is for singular contacts, just adding one at a time. And then we can click the Save button, and it's going to add this contact into the system for me. Now, as you can see in my system, I currently have 37 entries, but there's definitely quicker ways to get contacts into the system. Some of you guys as distributors probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of contacts. The other ways that we have to get contacts into the system are through a couple of different import methods that are available to you. The first of which is we kind of partnered up with Gmail and Yahoo or Ymail and have been able to get access to a direct email address book import from these particular services. So if you have a Gmail account or if you guys have a Yahoo or a Ymail email account, you would be able to essentially just click on these buttons right here, these icons, be taken to that specific, of course, contact. As you can see, I'm still logged into my Gmail account, so it's asking me, hey, Nu Skin just wants access to manage your contacts, and you're going to say allow access, and then it's going to pull in all the contacts that I have right here. I can choose to add them to, of course, the site just the same as I could when I'm adding one contact in at a time. But the other item that you'll definitely want to make sure of, and which is a lot more important, is making sure that your header drop-downs are set correctly for what information you're telling the system that it needs to pull in. So obviously from the contacts that I imported from my Gmail account, I've got some first names. Not all my contacts have last names. Some of them don't have any names at all, so it'll duplicate the first name as the email address. The one check that our system does is you must have a first name and must have an email address in the respective fields for a person to become a contact in the back office. Otherwise, the system won't let you do it. You can get by without a last name. You can get by without the phone numbers, SMS phone numbers, addresses, city, states, and zips, you name it. But we must have a first name column, must have an email column. So as you can see, we can tell that these are my last names. For the most part, these are all my first names, and we can tell that these are my email addresses. I want to add all these people to perhaps my opportunity. Maybe these are people that I want to tell about the business. So I'm going to go ahead and, of course, add them to a folder as well. I'm going to select my new folder. I'm going to click Import. And we're going to get a confirmation screen that's going to pop up and let us know how many contact records were just created. So as we remember, I had 37 before I went and did this particular import from my Gmail account. So it just added an additional 94 people, and one of the contact records was updated because myself is in the Gmail address book. So once you get to the confirmation page, you've got an option to either go through and start browsing those new contacts, or you can go into the import contacts and go into this screen again to go in and do your Yahoo account just the same. The other ways that you're able to do so are going to be through the use of spreadsheet files. There is a specific style of spreadsheet that you can use known as a CSV file, otherwise known as comma delimited. This basically is just a spreadsheet save file or format that you can use that tells the system each one of the columns of information stands on its own. So each column of your first names, each column of your last names, and everything like that. And I'll show you guys by opening up one of my sample ones real quick. So we'll go into my random folder. We're going to open my demo CSV. And this is basically what a CSV file is going to look like. You can see that I've got all my first names in a column, all my last names are separated into a column, same thing with my email addresses and any other applicable information. In this particular CSV file, I've got cities, I got states, I got postal codes, zip codes, and as you can see, I've got a total of 33 contacts in here. Now, this particular CSV file has already been used to update inside my system, but I wanted to show you guys as an example what that means when it's a CSV file. It just means all the information is broken up and separated into each one of its own columns. Not the rows, but the columns themselves, like the A, B, C, and repeating. The next thing that you can also do is, I'll show you real quickly how to upload that, is this button right here is going to say something different depending on what browser you're using. I'm using Chrome just for, of course, our tutorials and videos sake. If you guys are on Firefox, maybe even Internet Explorer, this Choose File button may say Browse or Open File, but nonetheless, it'll be a button right below this orange box that says Upload Your CSV File. When you click on that button, what's going to happen is you're going to get, of course, a window that pops up and asks you, where is the file located that you want to upload? Well, you're going to need to navigate to where that particular file is saved at. In this case, it's already set to my random folder. I'm just going to pick my demo CSV again. And then after it detects there's a file to upload, it gives you a brand new blue upload button, and we're going to click on that. When we click on that information, it's going to take us to much the very same screen as we were doing for like Gmail imports, except you still want to pay attention to these headers and make sure that the information is correct. We can tell that these are most likely first names by Stephanie, Brittany, Shaylee, Brianna, Donald, Nomi. We've also got the last name, Schaefer, Prudhomme. Email address is pretty easy to spot. We've got the username, and the domain name, so we can leave that, of course, there. And then say you only want that information. You don't want to necessarily pull in what their city is, or you don't necessarily need to pull in their state. You would just come over here and set these particular columns to none, and that's not going to pull in the information. So I'm going to have these people a part of my NSP products. They're already in the system, so I want to show you what happens if you accidentally upload a CSV twice. You're not going to duplicate any of the entries that are inside your system. We've built some checks and some faults into, of course, the system that's going to prevent that from happening. So as you can see, instead of adding 33 new contact records, it updated those. And it could have been updated because I put them into a different folder. I chose them to be associated with a different website, changed them from NS Products over to NS Opportunity, those different types of things. So you can actually use the CSV file and the import methods to also change massively what folders contacts are going into, or if you want to start batching your CSV files. And what I mean by batching is, say you've got a contact or a CSV file like we've got here, and I only need a handful of these contacts to be specifically into the information that I want to. I don't even have to necessarily make this a separate CSV file. I can highlight all the information that's applicable. I can copy this, and then I want to show you the other import option that we have that is pretty awesome. We have a paste box down here. It can't get any easier than this. All you need to do is essentially we copy that information over here just by right-clicking, or you can hit Control-C if you're using like a Windows computer, and that'll copy these data tables. You come over to your website inside this gray box, right-click, or hit Control-V on your keyboard and paste that information in there. It's going to look like nonsense here, but if you click that Submit button, it's going to make sense to the system. So I can pull in just those specific contacts from that CSV file and say that I know these particular contacts need to go into a different folder, or these particular people need to be NS Opportunity, or these people need to be on a different campaign than everybody else has been that I've uploaded. And like I said, you can update your contacts this way, through a mass method. It's pretty easy. And then you also have the opportunity, like I said, to update their information as far as folders or change their sites. If you've got a contacts list, or say these people that I've highlighted were product people at once, and now they're interested in, of course, getting into the business for themselves, that's where I would, of course, copy these people, come over, paste that information in here. I've got them, and then I can change them from those product and put them over to the opportunity. And then I can start putting them on opportunity campaigns if I want to as well. And then if I import this particular information, I've got to select. See, this is a good thing. If you try to do it without these filled out, you're going to get that little error message box. So again, be mindful of these drop-down boxes for getting the information in there as far as first name, last name, and email address. Oh, first name and then last name. And then we click import. And then for these like 8 contacts, it's just going to update them because it updated them from products over to opportunity, and it put them on those autoresponder campaigns. So those are the different options that are, again, available to you guys through the import. So you've got options to get them into there one at a time if you want to go that route, or For those of you who have been building up a course contact list throughout the years, we certainly have different ways for you to be able to get them into the system in one fell swoop instead of dealing with them one at a time. We understand how cumbersome, trying to input 1,000 contacts at one time and keep track of where you're at in your own records and what have you. Now, some of you guys may be asking, what if I don't have access to, Microsoft Excel or a different type of spreadsheet program? There's actually something cool I want to show you guys that, a lot of people aren't going to tell you. Google is a fantastic service, and Google actually has a really nice free service if you sign up for a Gmail account, and it's going to be called Drive. Now, what Drive's going to give us access to is a way to create, professional style documents that we would use most of the time in, of course, the office place. So I can create presentations, I can create a brand new form, I can make some drawings, I can connect more applications if I need to make different items. But as you guys can see, I can make a simple spreadsheet as well. So that same information that we have in this one, I can copy and paste, and you guys wouldn't be doing this part, but say you just wanted to put in Brian right here, you put in the last name over here, and then of course you put in their email address over here. And as you build your contact list that way, you just basically highlight it, copy it, and you can use that same import option that we had available to us on the website by using that copy and paste feature right down here. So even if you don't have, like I said, Microsoft Excel or anything like that, there's certainly free options for you guys to get the same use and be able to use the system's, I would say more time-saving features, if you will. Now that we've talked about, of course, the ways to get contacts into the system, now that we have contacts in there, we can actually see information about these contacts. And this is where the Manage Contacts is going to come into play. If you hover above the Contacts tab and select Manage Contacts, you're going to be taken to this screen right here. This particular screen is going to give you the list of all the particular contacts that you have within the back office. As you guys saw me do earlier, I had 37 to begin with, and then, of course, we updated it with 94 contacts from my Gmail account. So we've got a number of different items to look at. The first of which is, of course, our hot prospects. This is actually going to be people that have come through the website and actually have some points. So I can see that James Porter right here has actually viewed my website and filled out my lead capture page because the information was requested. So he actually put himself in my system. The other information, of course, when you're looking just at all the default contacts, is you can see most of the time what their phone number and email addresses are going to be. You can certainly save a phone number as somebody's first name as well if you need to. Say you've only got their phone number to be able to talk to them depending on how you guys get your leads. Over here, you can also click on the plus sign. It's going to tell you what their latest activity was. So we can see last year in November, almost a year ago, James was on my website, and that's how he gave me his contact information. So each one of these people, you can see what the latest activity was. Obviously, for contacts you upload into the system aren't going to have these particular items because they haven't visited the website or the system doesn't know that they visited the website yet. The other items that you have is, of course, setting the interest level. This is a manual way for you just to select, hey, I think this person's a 2-star, all the way up to 5 stars, 1 through 5, just what you think they are. We may be changing this out here in the future to move the latest activity to be more viewable without having to click the plus signs. So that may be coming down the pipelines for you guys soon, too. Now, the greatest thing, of course, about this is getting into the contact profile pages, and we'll talk about the folders over here in just a minute. But the contact profile pages is actually where we get tons of our information about what's happening with this contact, what's their contact infos, what's the reporting on them, what have they looked at, and what's the contact activity. The first, of course, panel right here is we can edit their contact information. Say we only have James's email address right here. I can click on Edit Contact Info, and it's going to give us the opportunity to put in all the other applicable information items, such as phone numbers, addresses if you're wanting to send out like a sample or something of that nature. Just click the Save button after you finish that, and it'll take you back into the contact profile page. You've also got that notes box. This will house all the notes that you keep about this particular contact, where you've met them, what their interest level is, anything that helps you remember where you're at in the prospecting process. You also have another way to manually add somebody to autoresponders after the fact or after they've been added to the system. And that would just be through the autoresponder drop-down menus here. You would first select what campaign they're going to be on. And then you can select whether or not they need to start on a different message other than one. And then you would select what date it's going to be. Obviously, the date for the second, that's today. You can't send out an autoresponder for a day that's already existing. And the reason why is the chronicalization jobs in the manner that we send out the autoresponders. All autoresponders trigger one day after. So you would actually have to set this to go out October 3rd if I wanted this to get out the soonest. So if I click that information, James is now going to be, of course, receiving the AgeLock Opportunity Campaign. He's going to be receiving that first message on the 3rd. The next thing I want to show you in the contact profile page is we can actually show you the reporting. The cool thing about the reporting is it's going to give me an idea of what everything he's looked at. So as you can see, website visits is he visited my website first on November 30th of 2012. During that, he was on the website for 16 hours, 23 minutes, and 44 seconds. That to me tells me he left the website up probably as he left his computer. He's also, of course, looked at homepage videos. Now, the homepage videos, you can see that he's looked at the AgeLock media highlights. He looked at them at 4:19 in the afternoon, and he watched 2% of that particular video. So he moved to a different web page before that video completed. And then we can see what other web pages he looked at during that particular visit. We can see that he looked at the different videos but didn't hit the play button. Otherwise, we would have more videos here that shows us what percentage of this was watched. And then it'll also show you what panels that they've clicked on with inside the website. Any of the presentations that you also send out through the prospecting menu or the ones that you create yourself, we'll be talking about this here momentarily too. If you send those out, if they view those presentations, you'll start populating information about those as well in the reporting. Down here in the lower left-hand corner, you'll also see that we've got the contact activity. You can record your own activity. Say I wanted to say that I contacted James by phone. And then you're going to record that activity note. And you'll see down in the lower right, it's now set on October 2nd, James called me to talk about products. So this will catch anything that was sent to him, and then this will also show any visits that they've had to the website, any return visits. Anytime the autoresponder campaigns actually get delivered, it'll tell you what campaign it was, what message in that campaign, like number 1, number 2 message, number 3 message. So the contact activity is a great way to kind of come back and see what information you may have sent to this person. That way you can say, okay, I've already sent them this particular product video, or I've sent them this particular testimonial. They don't necessarily need to see it again. So you're never going to be left in the dark with what you've sent out to somebody. We keep track of that for you. The two, of course, panels down here are more just informational. The local newsfeed isn't quite working. We're looking for different ways to still implement this correctly. However, the weather will work, and I'll show you how that works. So if we edit the contact information, and I come in here and I put a zip code or a postal code for Canada and save that information, it's going to take me back to the contact profile page, but then it's also going to show me that person's weather down in that lower weather panel. We'll just wait for my system to catch up. And we can now see that this is the weather. That's how cold it is for me outside right now. Wish it was a little bit warmer. But that's a contact profile page. As I said, you can come in here, you can change their contact information if you need to update or change out a phone number, maybe change their email address, you're able to do so. You're able to add them to notes, change out their autoresponders manually. You can check on the reporting, see specifically what they've looked at. As I said, we can see what video that they looked at right here. We can see that that is AgeLock media highlights, and you can actually see, like I said, the percentage of this. So we can't tell you whether or not if this said 100% that they watched 100% of it, but we can tell you that they were on that website until that video stopped playing. Like I said, we can also keep track of every kind of contact activity, whether it's them coming to the website or you sending information out to them, or whether or not you need to manually record an interaction with them as well. Again, the local news feeds, we're looking into a way to better implement this feature, and of course the weather's there for you as well. Just little icebreaker items in case you need to contact somebody, they're in a different state, different area. I know in my years of marketing and sales that I used weather as a great icebreaker, especially in cold calling situations. So that's going to be, of course, the items that cover our contacts. what we're going to be talking about next is how to interact with these contacts now that they're into the system. What can we do for them? What information can I send out? Which ways can I send that out? Which ways can I make sure that they're aware of the different information items that are available on my 2 different websites? Well, the first of which is, of course, the presentations. You guys do have an ability to look in the digital media section underneath prospecting, and it's going to show you the different media items that we have available for you. It looks at the present that we don't have default ones available to you. I don't know if this is going to change in the future, but we give you the capability to create your own, and we'll be talking about that when we go into the presentation builder. It'll make more sense, but for the time being, we'll look at your videos. So this is a video library of all the different videos that you can send out to each one of the prospects through email, or you can share these on a number of your different social networks as well. And I'll show you and talk to you guys about this real quickly. What we're going to be doing here in just a second is going to follow for the same suit for whether or not you want to share a web page or a PDF with a contact either by email or through those social media items. So again, what we're going to do with videos applicable for these 2 other sections as well. So for videos, we've got a couple of different things that are available to us. We can see what different folders they're associated into. We can just look at, of course, the ageLOC videos. We can look at just what we consider to be the Nu Skin ones or the Pharmanex ones. We can check those out too. So say, for instance, I'm looking at the Pharmanex. I want to see what particularly is going on with these videos. I can preview this. I can build a QR code, which we'll be talking about again here shortly too. But more specifically, I can see what the video title is, how long it is, and then if I click preview, it's going to take me to a new tab and start playing that video for me. So it gives you a way to be able to start watching the information before you actually send it out to some of the prospects, should you need to just be aware of what's in that information. Now, the good part about sending this information out and how to get it into one of these contacts' hands that we just put into our system is we have a couple of different options. The first of which is going to be emailing out this particular video link. As we can see right here, I'm going to go ahead and select my folder for new. It's going to have some of my contacts in there. I'm going to select 15. I'm going to select maybe 2 or 3 people. We'll go to, say, page 4. We'll select a couple of people too. So I've got 5 different people that I want this to go to. The next thing that I can do is configure the actual message itself after I've picked my contacts. The configuring of the message can be done in a number of different ways. The first of which is we can choose some email scripts, and we'll talk about how you guys can create your own scripts as well a little bit later in this phone call. For the time being, we're just going to select one of the default ones that's available for you. As you can see, very easily it fills out the email for us, so we don't have to spend all that time writing out an email every time we want to send some information out. And since I already chose that video that we were going to send out, it's located down in here. You also have the opportunity to preview how this message is going to look before it goes out. This is exactly the email that they'll be receiving, exactly how it's formatted. They'll see the Nu Skin logo. They'll see, of course, your contact information. You've got an email me button. You have a my website button that'll take them directly back to the website. And then, of course, you've got that video, which if they click on, they'll come to your website to view that content. So, of course, if I wanted to send this out to somebody, there's some other options that you guys should be aware of, and that's going to be agreeing to the anti-spam policy. This just basically states you're not going to be using the Nu Skin back office to essentially be sending out information for any other purposes unless directly related to products or opportunities associated with Nu Skin. You also have the option to copy yourself on the email. Just like a carbon copy, if you guys were to check off like a CC or put an address inside of a CC field on an email. However, this is going to be dependent on a lot of your guys' email providers because of the way that we send these out. If you remember, we stressed very importantly last week about those email server settings and getting those set up. So in this case, I just want to agree to the anti-spam policy, click send that email. It's going to let me know whether or not that went through in just a second. You're going to see a success or an error message. You'll see that it was successfully sent to all these people. So my email server settings are configured correctly, and I don't need to worry about that. So after I've sent that information out, it automatically redirects me back to my digital media section. And that's how you share out a video very quickly, of course, with one of those email scripts. Again, how we did that is we just clicked what particular item we wanted to send, or you could also do it this way. Using the Actions menu, say there's 3 different videos I want to send. you're going to come over here and select Actions and select Email. It's going to pull us into that same option, except it's got all three of those videos in there for me. And you can look at the preview message, or preview once I select something. There we go. And it's got all three of those video links, as you can see. Again, you just pick your contacts, select what you want to say inside the email. You don't have to use an email template. If you don't, you'll want to make sure that you're typing in, of course, the email subject fields and filling out the actual body of the emails before you agree and then send that information out to the contacts. As I said, you also have a way to send this out to each one of the social networks too. More importantly, the ones that we think are highly used by, close to 1 billion people worldwide is certainly Facebook, and then also, of course, Twitter. So if I wanted to, I could click on these buttons, and it's going to bring up a little window that's going to ask me to log into my Facebook or my Twitter account. When I do that, it's going to give me the opportunity to post that link back to my website that contains this video. So if I want to share, of course, some information on my Facebook pages with some of these videos, these testimonials, some of the videos about the product lines, everything that you guys, of course, work with, it's very, very simple to do that and try to create, of course, some stir about what's going on with your website, what's going on with some of these product lines, and try to, of course, get some more products into people's hands and or turn them into, of course, distributors themselves. Same thing with clicking on the Twitter button. It's going to ask you to log in with Twitter. It's going to put in this particular, and as you can see, this is the actual address it's going to go to. So it's going to show them that specific, the sizzle reel. I can do that with as many different ones as I want to as well. So you can add to folders, delete them from folders, email them out, push them out one at a time to your social networks. And those social networks aren't just all the ones that are available. You can actually push these out to, of course, all these different networks. As you can see, there's going to be, I think, a total of like 200 or so social networks that you can post this information to. But most people are going to use like Facebook, Twitter, they use Pinterest. We've also got other ones, Google Plus is a highly used one as well. So feel free to post and push any of those particular media items to those web pages or social networks. Same thing happens, of course, with the web pages. I can email out a direct link to one of the web pages. I can share that directly to my social networks. And, of course, the same thing for the PDFs themselves as well. That's just one of the items real quickly for, of course, the prospecting when you look at the digital media and how to share those items. Now, say you already know what you want to put into the system and you just want to go straight into emailing somebody. Through the prospecting menu, you do have access to a one-click email system. This is going to be very reminiscent of course, the screen we were just looking at, but in this case, it doesn't necessarily always have videos that are automatically in place for us. So you're going to choose your contacts that you're sending it to. In this case, it's going to email out this information to somebody's text message because I have their SMS gateways. Choose some other contacts, come over here and pick somebody else. Choose one of the email scripts that we have available. Agree to the anti-spam policies. And if I wanted to, I can add in my own custom data on the fly from this screen as well through my Add Media button. And this is going to extend your web page or stretch it, and it's going to give you access to the same digital media items that we've been looking at through the digital media section. So you've got access to all those videos, all these web pages, and all these PDFs. You would essentially just pick, the additional content that you wanted to include, put a check mark inside of it, and click Add Selected, and it's going to put that video inside the email right here. You can click Preview the Message. It's going to show you how that's formatted. Of course, if you don't want that video there at the top before it says the hello, copy and paste that out and put that maybe underneath. And then there's that information right there. We preview the message again, and it's moved it down below. I still have the one down below there. So a lot of utility in being able to, of course, see how that's going to look before you actually commit and send that out and find out after the fact that, it doesn't look right, you didn't have the information in it that you wanted. You also have custom data tags. Now, some of you guys may be looking at some of these squiggly brackets right here and be kind of confused. What these squiggly brackets will actually do is automatically pull in important information from your website and put that information automatically into the email. So you can see at the top in my greeting it says hello, contact _ first _ name. It's automatically going to pull in each one of the people's names up here. So it'll pull in A. Padilla, pull in Brianna's name, and send that information out to them. Same thing when it comes to my name down here. It'll actually say Brian McKenna in those different types of items. So if I didn't have this here and I wanted to add in, say, my phone number, I could hit Add Selected, go back in there. It's going to pull in my phone number automatically. Let's put my name in there too. We're going to hit Add Selected, delete one of those out. And then if I preview that message, you can see that it's got my name and my phone number down there automatically. I don't have to type in that stuff every single time I want to send some information out. That takes care of course, one-click email. As I said, very reminiscent of just going into digital media section, selecting one of the media items, and then clicking that email button. Pretty much the same effect, except this way you're selecting what you're sending first. The other way you're selecting, hey, I just want to send some information out. I'm going to do it from scratch. In the prospecting menu, we also have available to you a QR code builder. For those who are not aware, a QR code builder is essentially just a two-dimensional barcode that a lot of today's smartphones and tablet devices are actually able to scan these through the use of the cameras that are installed on their smartphones or their tablet devices. How this is beneficial to you is through the use of a QR code, you can literally embed thousands of characters of information into these little tiny barcodes. And a lot of times, as you can see, on my screen it's actually bigger, but you can get them pretty small and the phone would still be able to scan them properly and pull in the information that's embedded. Now, through the QR code builder itself, the different types of things that you'll be able to do through it pretty easily with our system is be able to link to either one of your sites, either the NS Products or NS Opportunity. You can tell them what information do they need to be able to retrieve from this QR code. In this case, by default, it's automatically going to pull in my contact information. So if somebody were to scan that QR code with my contact info in there, it's going to pop up in their address book and give me the opportunity to automatically save that information. So that might be helpful for you, for somebody to automatically pull in your contact info, save it to their phone, so that way they can get in touch with you when they need to. The other items that you guys are going to have access to is you can certainly link any one of the videos, web pages, the PDFs, also known as files on this screen, that you want to with inside these QR codes. Those QR codes will pull in the information and pull them to the website specifically to the video of our choosing. So as you can see on the categories, I've chosen my videos, and then I've got a pretty huge list that's probably going to take a few minutes to pop up on my screen for me. But same thing with web page links. You can see all the different ones that are available. Same thing with the files. You'll see all the different PDFs, and that one's going to be pretty populated, so it'll take a second for those to load for me as well. But like I said, you can have that QR code directly pull them in to download that PDF. You know, come into your website and specifically watch a certain video that you guys want. And then as far as the QR code itself, you would basically just save the image however you've changed it. You'll notice as we make changes on this, it changes the actual QR code. So you can just save the image and then save that on your computer, and that's your digital, excuse me, that's your digital readout for future use. Now, the other awesome thing in the QR code builders, we also give you the capability to print out QR code labels. These labels you'd be able to affix to the back of like DVDs, books, brochures, you know, different informational items or marketing materials that you would be handing out to potential prospects, to, you know, downline members and what have you. The cool thing about it is if I was to curate this QR code with, of course, that information on there, it's going to give me the opportunity to print out a sheet that's got 30 of these different labels on there. What we recommend for a template is going to be the Avery 5160 template to print these onto, or, of course, any other brand that fits that template. The awesome thing, too, about it is since we created a PDF, you're going to be given the option to not only print that out, but you're given the option to save this PDF. So you don't have to come back into the system to recreate that label sheet. You can just save it somewhere on your computer and then come back to it at a later time and reprint those out. So if you guys had like a rainy Saturday afternoon, and if you wanted to, you could actually literally come into the QR code builder and then create a label sheet for each one of the QR code items that you can link to. Like I said, your contact information, each one of the individual videos, PDFs, all the web page links, all that stuff. And with all those different items combined, as you guys can see, is you're going to have certainly hundreds of different, of course, QR codes that would be applicable to pull people into the business or, of course, let them know about the products. So that's our QR code builder. Of course, this is just information about the QR codes themselves. Talks about, like I said, they're two-dimensional barcodes that hold thousands of characters of information. If you guys want to look more into that, you can. We also, of course, recommend an application. If you guys don't have a QR code scanner already on your smartphones or your tablet devices, you can go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and download those. Most of the time, they're going to be free of charge, especially the one that we recommend right here. QR code marketing tips, like reasons why you would want to be able to use them, and then of course printing the QR code labels. If you forget what template we like, this fits the Avery template 5160 as well as many other brands right here. So the next thing I want to show you guys is that presentation builder that we momentarily talked about. Because you guys don't have any default presentations, we would urge you to use the presentation builder to kind of give your own specific twist to the way that you're giving information out to your prospects. And what I mean by that is a presentation is kind of a special media item to send out to somebody. A presentation can contain a number of different videos. It can contain a lead capture page option if you want it to, and it can contain up to one PDF as well, and we're looking into the validity of allowing you guys to include multiple PDFs as well. So let's say in my presentation that these are the 3 first videos that I want somebody to watch. When I send this out maybe to cold contacts, maybe I want to have a specific lead capture page for them to give me their contact info, because perhaps I only have their email addresses. And then I want to select, what PDF I want to send in this presentation. Now, what makes the presentation so special is when somebody clicks on a presentation in the emails, they're not going into the website itself. They're just going directly to the presentation. That presentation is only going to show them the information that you put into the presentation. Whereas if you sent them an email for a specific video just by itself and not using a presentation format, they're going to be able to watch that video, but they're going to have access to everything else to click on within your website. They'll be able to go look into the sign-up process, maybe look into, of course, purchasing the products. But say you don't want somebody to get that far all by themselves. You want to help them along in that journey. A presentation is something that's going to be certainly useful to you guys that want to be able to control that prospecting process, control the information that they have access to essentially. Because we know a lot of times if we were to hand out our website address, have somebody come to our website at their own leisure, when they're at home, when they're at work, a lot of times they might not even tell us that they've gone to the website and looked at any of the information, because we didn't have a chance to find out what their feedback was. Why did they not stay on the website? Why did they not look at some of the products? What's some of their thoughts about the opportunities that are to be had? Those kind of items. And that's where a presentation will help you guys out, is if you get those lot of questions. Because you're only going to show the ones that you want to show, and they're not able to look into more information as of yet, unless you just tell them the website address, tell them to go look at it anyway. But like I said, for cold contacts, this is a great way to be like, here's some information on, our business, here's some of these awesome, products, or here's some awesome opportunities if you guys happen to have leads of people who are looking for investment opportunities and those types of things. So certainly presentations are pretty powerful. As I said, as you start picking out your different videos, you can certainly have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many videos you want. As you can see, we have 98 total videos for you guys in the back office. That's probably one of the biggest video libraries that we have. Again, you can choose the lead capture page options, choose whether or not they put in a phone number and a postal address if you want them to as well. Again, you can select the PDFs. You do have your preview buttons to be able to look at that information, so I can actually look at that, of course, lead capture page. That's what that looks like, and then I can look at that particular PDF as well. The last step is it's just going to have you name this presentation. So since this is my account, I'm just going to type in some gibberish. We're going to click on Save Presentation, and then if I go back into that digital media section, remember we were looking at an empty presentations list. That's not the case anymore. We've just created our first presentation. So I implore you guys to get in there, get familiar with the content, and come up with some crazy, wild presentations that you think are going to be like the 1, 2, 3 punch for getting somebody interested in, of course, those products or that opportunity. The next thing I want to talk about real quickly in the prospecting tab is we have, of course, the autoresponders. As you guys may be aware of, we talked about our autoresponder triggers in week 1. When somebody comes to the website, or they do or do not watch one of the presentation items that we send them, or a video, a web page link, what have you, we can automatically send them automatic follow-up, and that's through the use of what we call these autoresponder campaigns. Every single one of you that has an account with us, of course, has access to all the default ones that are available, but say you want to get a little bit custom with it. You can go into the email campaigns themselves and actually create one specified to what your standards are. You know, you can use predefined email scripts, much like you would in an email situation. You would name your campaign, email subject, what do you want that first email on the campaign to say. So just to show you guys, we'll put some gibberish in again. Just put some info. We're going to choose one of these predefines. And then we're going to click Add Another Message. As you see, we're now on the step of creating the second message of this campaign. So the one thing I will say that I want you guys to pay attention to is every time you go into the next message for building out your own autoresponders is definitely pay attention to this line right here where it says, after sending the previous message, wait this many days before sending this message. As you can see, we make you guys a minimum wait of 1 day. What I would say is, depending on autoresponders, your guys' of course contacts, you would know them better than we would. I would suggest probably no less than 3 days in between each one of the messages in a campaign. That way it doesn't seem like they're just getting day after day after day. So you can of course put some more information here. We can put another predefined email script, go on to add another message. That's going to put us on number 3 of 3. If I didn't want to, we can go back to previous message, that's number 2 of 2, and then I can save that, and this campaign is now there with just 2 messages, and it takes 4 days for this to complete. They get the message on day 1 of it being triggered, and then 3 days later, or on day number 4, they're going to receive that second message in that campaign that I've created. Of course, if you want to look at the default ones that we have available for you guys, a cool thing that you can do is just looking at them, you can click on the campaign itself and it's going to give you a breakdown of how the campaign runs. So as you can see, we can look that this particular campaign has 8 different messages and it's going to take a total of 29 days for an 8-message campaign to go out. So as you can see, the first message is entitled, "Are you ready to look and feel younger?" It goes out the first day or the next day after somebody's triggered it. You have you heard of the gene clusters? That goes out on day number 5 or 4 days later. Same thing with the third message, another 4 days waits to go out on day number 9, and then so on and so forth all the way out until the 29th day when they complete this campaign. You also have, of course, the capability to look specifically at what that message is going to say that's in that campaign. So you can click on the text version or the HTML version. HTML version is going to show you what they're actually receiving as far as the email buttons, the logos, what it looks like, the links, and everything. So I like the HTML view much, much better. So we'll go back to the autoresponders. As you guys can see, we've got a number of different ones. We've got the AgeLock product campaign that's defaultly available for you guys. AgeLock opportunity, watched presentations, didn't watch the presentations, and then of course it looks like we've got some Spanish ones available, and then the one that I've created myself with the gibberish down here. The next thing I want to talk to you about is going to be the email scripts. Now, we've been pulling down from our email template drop-down in the last couple of screens, and when we're sending out email messages or if we're creating an autoresponder. Those, of course, default email scripts are right here. Those are the same ones that show up in that drop-down menu. So if we go into one-click email, I'm going to open up in a new tab for us. We come down here and we're looking at the email template right here. That's where this information is being pulled from. This is all the default ones that we have available to you guys. So you can look into them, but the other awesome option that we give you is, of course, another customization item, is you can create your own email scripts to use for future use. So in this case, we'll do a little bit more gibberish. We'll put in, of course, email subject. Come down here and type out a lot of gibberish. And then if I save that script, the cool thing about it is it's now going to become available in any one of those menus where I've got an email template. So you're going to see all the global ones that we have available, and then you can see down here my email scripts show up underneath the bold heading. I can choose that script. You can see where it's got the hello new contact, and character for character, that gibberish I typed, it's got it in there. So if you know ahead of time that you want to be able to type out an email that you're going to be sending out to a lot of prospects, you can certainly make use of the email scripts and then not have to type it out every single time that you're sending it. Just save it as an email script, save yourself some time, and be able to use it from the email template drop down and get those emails out, within just literally, seconds or minutes of getting into the system and needing to direct that information towards a contact or prospect. That shows your guys, of course, the prospecting menu today. That's going to be getting a little bit close to the ending of our call. I'll open it up here in just a couple of seconds after we stop the recording for question and answers. Like I said, so what we've gone through today in week 2, guys, is we looked at the contacts. We showed you how to manually add a contact one by one through the Add New Contact screen. We also went over the import contact options, the different ways that you can add in, hundreds, if not thousands, of contacts at one time. And we also showed you the contact management system. We showed you the contact profile pages themselves. That gives you all the breakdowns and information on what that person's doing in your website, what information have they looked at, and then, of course, the contact activity that shows you everything that you've already sent them. And then we've looked at, of course, the prospecting menu. Since we have contacts in the system, how do we get the information to them? That's why we went through the digital media section to show you the presentations that you can build, the different videos, PDFs, and web page links that are available for you to share on your social media networks, to send out via email. We've showed you the one-click email option, QR code builders, presentation builders, autoresponders, and the email script. So as you guys can see from today's phone call, there's a lot of different ways that you can not only get information out very quickly to a lot of your contacts, but you don't have to necessarily come up with it from scratch right off the bat. We provide a lot of information that's pertinent to what you guys are doing to send out to these people, but we understand that some of you guys want to be able to create that custom, verbiage, be able to sound like yourself when you're in the prospecting process with the contact. So that's going to end today's phone call today for the recording.